Streaming is on.
Hi, everyone. We're back for the second part of our writing block, and we are going to be talking about. I'm losing my mind today. We're talking about the organization of ideas, how that's used in writing. So, what we're going to be doing today within that realm is a science lesson which talks about how living things are organized. So, that helps to clarify, I think, more easily how things are organized in writing. So let's take a look first at our chart of um, how things are organized, living things are organized within the world. So we're going to take a look at this little chart. And you don't have to actually learn these concepts today, but you should know this. So when we start looking at life, we start with the tiniest particles or molecules, correct? We're talking about water. They are groups of atoms in the smallest unit of chemical compounds. And for all living things, we're talking about DNA, right? Which will turn um, things into cells or tissue or organisms. So DNA is the basis, correct? And then we go to the smallest functional unit of life. We're talking about cells. And this actually is a nerve cell. Then we go to groups of cells, which form tissues, organs, and then organ systems. So, as you see here, you have the tissue, the brain, and that together forms the nervous system within our body. So, notice we're going from the smallest unit to the bigger units. Then, when we have all that put together, tissues, organs, and organ systems, they make organisms or an individual living thing. And in this case, we're talking about a bison. When you get a herd of bison moving up, a group of organisms of one type that live in the same area, then we have a population. Then, when we have populations that live together in a defined area, like you'll see a hawk, a snake, wherever he is, a dog. Oh, there's the snake. You've got grass, different type of plants. Those are a community. That makes a community. And then together, when you have the community and its non-living surroundings, water, rocks, air, that is an ecosystem. So you'll have all these types of living things together and non-living things that are together in a particular area that is an ecosystem. And then when you talk about the earth and everything that's contained in it, all of the different ecosystems, it is a biosphere. And bio means life, biosphere. So this is all of the life contained within the earth, with all the various ecosystems. And as you know, um, in the mountains, you'll have one type of ecosystem. In the desert, you'll see a different type of ecosystem. Within the ocean, you'll see another type. So as we hear, our ideas are organized from the smallest to the largest. Okay, didn't mean to go all the way up. And there was a good video. I hope that you watched it, which was called Making Sense of How Life Fits Together. It's a YouTube video that's 4 minutes long. And I put these videos here to help deepen your understanding, to help crystallize the concepts that we discuss. And it is important that you take the time to watch them. I don't show them during our lessons anymore because we were having technical difficulties. But this is definitely something that I want you to take a look at. And so finally, we're going to look at our lesson, which is organization of living things. And basically, we talked about this, but we're going to say it again. So, what does the organization of living things mean? We know it all starts with the cell. And for some species, it ends with the cell. But for others, the cells come together to form tissues, tissues form organs, organs form organ systems, and organ systems combine to form an organism. And so when we have levels of organization, the living world is organized into different levels. For example, many living organisms can be organized into the following levels: cells, which are the basic structure and function of all living things; tissue, a group of cells of the same kind that perform the same function. We could talk about skin, muscle, heart, okay? And then an organ is a structure composed of more than two or more types of tissues. And the tissues work together to perform a specific function. And in our bodies, we have organs such as the brain, the kidney, the stomach, the liver. And plant organs include roots, stems, and leaves. We've covered that also in science. Then you have an organ system, which is a group of organs working together to perform a certain function. So then in the human body, we have the skeletal system, the nervous system, we have reproductive systems. Then an organism is an individual living thing that may be made up of one or more organ systems. And so, what are the levels of organization in a multicellular organism? So, you're going to have an organelle, then you'll have a cell. So, an organelle performs a certain function within the cell. And then we have the cell. And then we have multiple cells together to, to form a specific function. We'll have tissue, and the groups of tissue can form an organ. When you have multiple organs working together for one particular purpose, you'll have an organ system, such as the digestive system, and then you'll have an organism, which is the complete and total part, the complete and total um, life form. And then there are also levels of organization above the individual. So organisms of the same species that live in the same area make up a population. All of the goldfish living in the same area make a goldfish population. And all of the populations that live together make a community. Know these things, y'all. The community that includes the goldfish population also includes populations of other fish, coral, and other organisms. An ecosystem consists of all the living things in a given area together with the non living things. So things biotic, bio means life, non living, abiotic, a means not, factors. And the non living things include water, sun, trees, whatever is necessary to be a part of the ecosystem. And then a group of similar ecosystems with the same general type of physical environment is called a biome. Important word there. And finally, a biosphere is part of the earth where all life exists, including all the land, water, and air where the living things can be found. Oopsie. What are the levels of organization in nature? Well, we start with the organization, and then we have more, makes our population, and then we have different types of organisms together. They form a community. Then we have all of the living things, biotic or abiotic, rocks, soil. And then we have the biome, which is a group of ecosystems within a given environment. That's a biome. And then finally, all of life on the earth creates a biosphere. So that's a pretty good review. And then we look at the diversity of life. Life is organized by a measure of Earth's diversity is the number of different species. So at least 10 million different species live on Earth today. And here are some examples. singular celled, multi-celled, multi-organelle organ groups. Those are life. And there's the video. And finally, here's the summary that many individual organisms can be organized into the following levels: cells, tissues, organs, and organ systems. An ecosystem consists of all the populations within a given area together with the non living environment, biotic and abiotic. And the biosphere is the part of Earth where all life exists. And finally, the diversity of all living things is called biodiversity. And here are your questions. Describe the levels of organizations of a complex multicellular organism such as a mouse, starting with the cell. Explain how a population differs from a community. 3, what is an ecosystem? 4, give 3 examples of the non-living environment. And 5, what is biodiversity? So we've discussed all of that so that you understand how to organize complex ideas, concepts, and information to make important distinctions. And so this organization of life and non-life to create the biosphere shows you how, from the least important to the most important, the ideas and concepts were put together to increase your understanding. So that's all we have for today. Answer those questions. That would be really great practice. So that's all we have now, and science will be coming up in just a few minutes. All right, take care.